Okay, you guys know I don't do hauls very often, but I did place a very rare Sephora haul. It's just not generally my ethos of like how I shop, but there are several new luxury releases, high-end releases that I've been really curious about and things that I want to review for you before the Sephora sale starts on April 5th. So that's next Friday, which is a week from today when I'm filming this. So let me show you what I got. I picked up some things I'm super excited about. I haven't tried any of them yet. The first thing I ordered was the Dior Forever Glow Star Filter. These are all new releases, by the way. This is, I think, Dior's answer to Charlotte Tilbury's Flawless Filter. It has like a glowy tinted finish and it comes in several shades. I think there are maybe like 8 shades of this or something like that. So it looks like this. It comes with a pump, and this is the shade 2, which I am super excited about. So I'm going to use that as a glowy, luminizing primer, or maybe even a liquid highlighter on top. The next thing I grabbed is the Prada foundation. I've heard amazing things about this. I have not tried any of Prada Beauty yet, so I grabbed this. This is their foundation in the shade MN40. I shade matched myself online, and I wanted to go for my summer shade because as soon as the sun comes out and I go out in the sun, I know I'm about to get deeper in the coming months. So that's MN40. We'll see if that works. And then I also grabbed a Prada lipstick. It's the Prada Monochrome Soft Matte. So I think there's a soft matte and a super matte in terms of their lipstick formulas. And I wanted something that creates kind of that blurred, diffused lip. And I got it in the shade B103 Auburn, which I'm really excited about. It's described as a pinky brown. I just think it's so gorgeous. Look at the embossing even on the tube. Let's swatch it real quick. Interesting. It's very similar to the Merit matte lipsticks. So that is the shade Auburn. It kind of has that really soft, silicone-y sort of cloud-like blend, and it's also very thin. I haven't tried this on the lips yet, but I feel like you could blur it out for a really soft tint, or you can build it up for more pigment as well. I also got a couple of new releases from Haus Labs. So I grabbed their blush, their powder blush in the shade French Rosette. And I know these were limited edition and they were recently re-released. I didn't try the original version, but I think this is the same, just in slightly different packaging. So it has this soft matte silicone packaging that matches the shade of the blush. And French Rosette just looked like a really pretty, fresh, rosy shade. And then I grabbed a shade of their new PhD Hybrid Lip Glaze, and this is a gloss. And they describe it as a plumping gloss with peptides, but it doesn't have mintiness in it, which is important to me. And I got the shade Guava, and it looks like this. It has this like matte tube with the shiny chrome cap, or wand, I should say. It's thick, but I kind of like it that way. We'll see if it feels like sticky on the lips. Right away, actually, I can tell it's a formula I'm gonna like because it's grippy. Like I feel like it's gonna grip onto the lips and actually stay there. It kind of reminds me on first impression of the Ami Collet lip oil. They're similarly thick and rich and shiny. So we'll see how that looks on the lips. I also have a bunch of new luxury lipstick releases. I have the new Westman Atelier lipsticks. They sent those over to me. I have the new YSL Love Oil or Love Shine Oil sticks. They're like a sheer glossy lip. And I have 4 of those shades. So I think I might do like a comparison video so I can show you lip swatches of all of those in a dedicated video. I'll film that next so you can see, especially so I can give you a bit more of a comparison between all of the formulas, especially if you are shopping the sale and you're not sure what to get. Let's start with complexion, and first I'm gonna go in with the Dior Forever Glow Star Filter. I'm so used to saying Forever Skin Glow. I was actually debating between this and their new luminizer or their liquid highlighter that actually comes in shades. It comes in like pink, peach, And I almost got both, but this is the type of product I like to use more. I feel like that liquid highlighter is more specifically for highlighting, whereas this is something you can use as a primer. You can use it sort of with concealer. There are just more versatile uses for a product like this. And I did just check, and it comes in 10 shades. So I got shade 2, which is actually the third deepest shade because they go 0, 1, 2. I'm really glad they came out with 10 shades at their first release and not extending shades later. I just pumped a little bit of it out. It's a glass bottle and it's a full ounce. So this is like a full foundation size. And I just pumped out a little bit right there so you can see. It has this really nice neutral champagne undertone, but it's very beige actually. Interestingly enough, it has a slightly pinkish pearl running through it. At least on my skin tone, there's a slight pinkiness to it. Not in a bad way. I feel like that's going to give a really flattering, like pearly sheen to the skin. I'm happy to say there is no glitter, which is really important to me. It just creates a pearly effect. And it is sort of setting down as it's sitting on my hand. So that's that one dot blended out. So you really don't need a lot of this type of product. Like Hollywood Flawless Filter, they describe this as a multi-use highlighter. So they say anywhere you want to brighten, but they also mention that it blurs and creates radiance. So I'm going to use it as a primer on the high points of my cheeks. I'm going to take my BK Beauty 113 brush, one of my favorites. I'm going to pump a little bit more on the back of my hand. I have a lot of redness. I think it's just like hormonal breakouts today, but I'm gonna keep this targeted on the tops of my cheekbones and across my forehead. It has a very loose texture. Like it's not runny, but it's like a thin gel. It's kind of cooling on the skin. You can see the amount of luminosity that's creating. I feel like it's even maybe a little bit glowier than Flawless Filter. I know every brand is kind of coming out with their liquid illuminator, but I always like Dior base products. I think they have a lot of really good undertones in terms of their shade matches, and their products just perform well. Like throughout the day, they wear well. So I'm excited that Dior has come out with like their answer to Flawless Filter. That's actually really blurring. I wasn't expecting that, so maybe I will apply a little bit on my chin and forehead as well. It doesn't feel greasy at all. It feels super lightweight, so that's nice. Okay, maybe that was a little much on my chin. I feel like when I swatched it on my hand, the pink pearl was a lot more visible than it seems to be on my skin. Like on my skin, it just looks pearly. I know you're gonna ask, it does have the Dior floral smell, but I don't smell it on my face. I smell it on my hand when I'm holding it up and looking at the swatches, but I think it's a scent that does fade over time. Moving on to foundation, the Prada foundation, I won't lie, it was hard for me to bite the bullet because it's $70, but I've heard such amazing things about the finish of it that I was just dying to try. I do love the packaging. It's a refillable system. And so the foundation with the refill system is $70 and then the refills are $55. It comes in 33 shades and I won't lie, I had a hard time figuring out what my shade was. I think I've done well. We'll see. Like I mentioned, I grabbed MN40, which is medium neutral 40, and it's on the lighter, it's like one of the lightest medium shades. So they call it a skincare foundation. It actually has broad spectrum SPF 17 through an ingredient called insulizole, which I'm not familiar with. I think it's a chemical filter. They mention it's a natural matte finish with medium coverage. It's supposed to make your skin look softly filtered, which is exactly what I like. So let's see what happens. I have not pumped this out yet. Here's that pump of it. It does look pretty neutral. I would say this is more of a light medium than a medium. I'm just gonna flip this brush over, and they say use a brush to build up coverage. One pump is higher coverage, but it's supposed to be a buildable finish. So I always like to start in the center of my face. I can already tell that's a really, really good match if it doesn't oxidize. It's fluid, but it's not runny. It's not like a watery fluid, and it's spreading out really nicely. I can already tell it's blurring over pores. And I can tell that because I didn't apply any of the liquid luminizer in the center of my face, just on the tops of my cheekbones. It does have a scent. I do notice it. I don't think there's any luxury foundation out there that doesn't have a scent, but it's actually less scented than the Dior luminizer. I feel like I need one more pump, maybe half a pump for my forehead. I like how thin of a layer I can apply because it is a more fluid texture rather than a stiff cream. I can get a really thin application where I want it, and then I can build it up where I don't want it. I do feel like this shade is getting peachier the longer it's sitting on my skin. At least I can tell on the back of my hand it's getting peachier. I'm trying to decide how I feel about it because other than the shade getting a little bit peachy on my skin, I feel like it's the type of product that I really like. It's thin, it's fluid, it has a natural matte finish, it is blurring, but I don't know if it's agreeing with the skincare I have down. I feel like I need to test it with a more hydrating primer because it's currently 1 p.m. I did my skincare this morning, so it's been several hours and I feel like applying over a hydrated base would be better. So for example, where I put the luminizer down, it's actually playing really beautifully with the luminizer, but in the center of my face, it's sinking a little bit into my pores, and I feel like if I had prepped my skin immediately before this, that wouldn't have happened. And I think that's true for any foundation. You sort of need to play with skincare, you need to play with primers to see how best to apply it. But I do really like the coverage, and I do feel like it's giving me a diffused blend, especially over the luminizer, despite me saying it's sinking into pores a little bit just around my nose, where I think I'm a little bit dry right now. But I do like the overall finish. And it's not getting too peachy. It got a little bit peachy, like on the back of my hand, but then it stopped. So hopefully it stays that way throughout the routine. We'll see. I just want to see what building coverage is like with fingers, because you can always tell more about a foundation when you can feel it on your fingers. And it has a nice creaminess to it, but a fluidity as well. Yeah, I do feel like it's a medium coverage foundation. You're not gonna get like full coverage from this, but that is generally what I like, and I like to stop there. Before I move on to the Haus Labs blush, I'm just going to lightly powder my cheeks. I don't necessarily feel like I need it, but I wanna give the powder blush something to hold on to so it doesn't look splotchy. So I'm just going to take my Givenchy Prism Libre powder in 03 Voile Rosé and just lightly powder under my eyes and across the cheeks. I'm still loving this powder, by the way. It is an indulgence, but this little thing, I don't use it every time I do my makeup, but I've used it really regularly since I got it a few months ago, and it lasts forever. I feel like translucent powders, like loose powders, do last forever. So it's nice to know you can buy the small one and it will go a long way. I'd love to know if you have anything in your shopping carts or on your wish list. I did ask on Instagram what everyone's eyeing, if there's anything you want me to review. I actually picked up some of these things because they were so highly requested. But if there's anything sitting in your cart, I would love to know. The powder is sitting nicely on top of this foundation. It's not like it's super mattifying. That's kind of why I wanted to go with this powder. And I'm gonna go into the Haus Labs blush. What shade is this? French Rosette. Let me swatch it for you. I kind of liked the mix of tones in here. Like, it's rosy and it seems like a neutral rose, but there's a slight peachiness to it too, like a slight brightness. And I thought that would be really pretty for spring and summer. It is a matte blush, like there's no shimmer in it, but it has almost a baked pearly finish. I don't think these are baked, I think they're pressed, but it has that sort of diffuse blurred finish. So I'm going to take my Rephr 05 brush and just tap it in. I can tell it's a pressed powder actually because I am getting just a little bit of kick up, nothing major, but that confirms what I thought. And it does have that pearly sheen to it. It's actually a really creamy powder blush. I don't feel like I'm having to do a lot of like sweeping or blending work. How would you describe this rose? I feel like in some lights it looks warm, but it's generally pretty neutral. There is red in it, but there's also like a touch of coral, a little bit of strawberry. It's interesting. Maybe a little bit on the nose. I feel like this is a good shade for going across the nose because it's what I look like when I get flushed versus like super pink. Maybe a little in the temples. Really pretty. I feel like if you are my skin tone or deeper, this is going to be a really nice flush on you. It is pigmented. If you're lighter than me, it's still going to look good too, but you might want to use a lighter hand. Okay, that's base done, cheeks done. I feel like my skin looks super blurred, really diffused, and everything is creating a soft matte finish because I used a powder blush. And it's more matte than I go for these days because I use so many cream cheek products, but I do feel like, especially going into summer, going into warmer months, and seeing these new technologies with these really beautiful creamy powders, it's kind of a refreshing change up. And powder cheek products especially, are just in such a different place than they were even like 5 years ago. Like this is such a sophisticated, modern matte. So I'm really into it. And I do feel like that pearliness is peeking through even from underneath the powders. I'm just gonna bronze up real quick. I realized, I don't know if I ever showed you guys this or if I've ever used it on camera, but Simi Haze sent over their Skin Suede Melting Bronze Balm in the shade 2. And to be honest, I hadn't heard that much about it, but I feel like it's a really good cream bronzer if you like a soft, diffused, almost matte finish, because there's no shimmer in here and it is like a dry balm. So it's not emollient and it doesn't even add really a lot of shine or anything to the skin, but it's just like a light tint. And I feel like it's really effective without having to use a lot of product or adding a lot of texture to the skin. So I like to just kind of stamp it around with an angled brush. This is a Jane Iredale blending brush. And I just kind of stamp it around on the tops of my cheekbones where I would naturally be bronze. And I feel like the shade 02 is a good match for me too because it has a really golden undertone. So this is a closer look. This is Cedar 02, the Skin Suede Melting Bronze Balm. But it actually came out in 6 shades, and the undertones and the variation and depth of the shades are actually really good. So just wanted to share that real quick, and it has a really nice, like, compact little package. I just want to go in with something really soft on the eyes, and I realized I never showed you the Rare Beauty eyeshadow sticks, the cream eyeshadow sticks, and they are actually really good and they're super long lasting, especially if you have oily eyelids and you're looking for a one and done shadow. So here are the swatches. They're all shimmery, they're all dimensional, and in order I have Well-Being, Integrity, Contentment, Adventure, Growth, and Compassion. So those are the swatches. I think for today's look, I'm just going to take the shade Contentment, which is described as a rose taupe, and I'm literally just gonna draw it across my eyes. These are creamy when you draw them on, and they do give you time to blend out, but they definitely do set down, which is good. And then I'm just taking a little pencil brush, the BK Beauty 207, just to blend out the edges. It's a really quick, easy eye look. Same thing on this side, just going to literally color across my eyelid. And the nice thing about this range is it's all different versions of neutrals. I would love to see colors actually in this formula, but there are a lot of easy shades to wear. It's quick for daytime if you want like a quick look pulled together for work or whatever, if you're just on the go. These make it super easy to apply. Now that these have set down, I feel like I can show you how much they actually do set down. I might actually take a fluffy brush into the Skin Suede bronzer and just blend out the edges to create some more dimension across the eyes. I feel like these two will actually kind of work nicely together. Okay, for mascara, I actually forgot YSL sent me the waterproof version of their Lash Clash mascara, and I haven't tried it yet. I really love the original Lash Clash mascara. It's super volumizing, and it actually didn't smudge on me. So it's not like the waterproof is in need, but I do wonder if it's going to be better at holding a curl. Waterproof mascaras generally do that. So I'm gonna give it a shot. It's a big wand, I won't lie. It's fluffy, but because it is tapered, it's not too bad. I feel like when a wand is just really thick all around, it can be difficult for my eye shape, but we'll see. I'm going in with no primer or anything here. My lash is just curled. One thing I'm remembering about this formula as I'm using this is that the formula isn't too wet. It's actually a pretty dry formula for creating that kind of fluttery lash look. I hate when a mascara formula starts out too wet. And even though the bristles are big, like it's a bushy wand, there's actually space between the bristles, so you can actually blink through the brush and get a lot of fluffy separation. Okay, wow, I was not expecting this. I've been trying a lot of new mascaras lately. I'd say I've tried maybe 4 new mascaras in the last couple of weeks. Not including this one, and this might be my favorite one I've tried. I was not expecting it to be this buildable and to create such a fanned out look. Like, my lashes only look like this when I wear falsies, which is almost never. So I'm super excited about this. I'll let you know in a pinned comment how everything wore. I think I can do about an 8-hour wear test today. And I'll let you know if the curl holds throughout the day, if there's any smudging, and lastly, if it's difficult to remove, because it is a waterproof mascara. But I like the effect of this so much that I can't wait to try it on again and keep testing it. Like, this mascara wasn't even the point of this video, but it's so good. Okay, let's move on to lips. I have these two, and I'm gonna try the gloss on first just because it's less pigmented. And I don't think I'm gonna use a lip liner with either of these just so you can see their true color. When I first saw this, I was honestly kind of nervous because they call it a lip plumper, and I don't like those minty, spicy plumpers. They actually say it's a 4-in-1 glaze that fuses a lip oil, balm, plumper, and gloss to hydrate the lips and provide burn-free plumping. It comes in 6 shades. All of the shades honestly looked really cute, but I just feel like guava is something that I will wear a lot. And it is thick, it's rich, and they actually say that, but they say it's non-sticky. So we'll see, I'll be the judge of that. I like the chubby doe foot applicator, and I feel like it is definitely rich. And I feel like this sort of mimics the natural color of my lips. It's rosy, but it has like a rosy beige quality to it. Like, it's pink, but it's not a baby pink. It's a very like earthy, warm pink. I really like this because it is a thicker texture. It feels like it's not going to migrate or slip outside of my lip lines, and I'm getting a really controlled application of it. And it doesn't feel sticky. Like, when I press my lips together, there is no like stringiness. It doesn't feel like the lips are sticking at all. And I'm really into this shade. I feel like it's gonna go with everything. It also does feel moisturizing. I'll let you know if it feels moisturizing over time. But I did mention it feels really similar to the Ami Colé lip treatment oil. I love that one. I have the shade Bliss, which is actually quite similar to this, but recently I've had to declutter that because the packaging has started to leak, like around the edge where you twist it. I feel like some of the product is starting to leak out, and I noticed in one of my handbags the other day it was a little bit sticky. So I feel like this is going to be a good replacement for that, because the reason I like that one so much is that it feels moisturizing. I almost use it like I do a liquid balm, and I feel like I can do that with this. It's just really fresh and pretty, easy to use with or without makeup. This actually makes me want to try their shade Fig or their red shade. I think it's like a cherry shade. I feel like those shades look really nice in gloss form too. But we have other business which is the Prada lipstick. Okay, we live in a world where luxury lipstick now costs $50. This is $50. They say it's a refillable system. It has their cute Prada logo on it. I won't lie, I do really like the packaging. And like I showed you before, the embossing on the tube is really stunning. And it comes with this like angular tip. I also had a hard time picking a shade in this for a different reason than the foundation, just simply that I wanted so many different shades. I don't necessarily look for long wear in lipsticks these days, but I can appreciate that. I do think it's kind of funny. They are very like high tech about Prada Beauty, so they say that it actually mimics microfit technology, which is supposed to replicate the luminosity of Prada nylon fabric. The shades are made with a white base and only 3 pure color pigments. So let's try it on. I'm thinking of doing like a blotted look first, and then we can apply in full opacity. So this is just one really sheer layer blotted out. I did like that on the models in the photos in their product imagery, they all had this really beautiful cloud-like blurred lip. But I do feel like you need this kind of formula that's soft and malleable to get a blurred lip without losing any sort of lip structure or definition. And a lip brush definitely helps with this. So here's one more layer. I feel like this is a really unique shade in that it's not losing brightness as I'm building pigmentation. Obviously the tube looks pretty deep, like it looks like a straight up red, but on the lips it has this really sort of sophisticated undertone. It's a red, it's a brown, it's warm, but it's kind of pink at the same time. And I feel like this is the kind of shade that on my skin tone just brings out some brightness in the skin, like some vibrancy. I really wanted to try this in a pink shade also, so I may be picking that up during the sale, we'll see. Let me apply it at full opacity so you can see it that way. Now that I have it on, I can feel that it is creamy, like it has some body to it now that it's not just like a sheer application. And it does feel like it's sort of kind of smoothing over my lips. It does have a scent. It's a light floral, but it's kind of like a soft floral. I don't like a lot of sharp floral scents, but I actually don't mind this, and I don't smell it on my lips at all. Okay, this turned out really nicely. I love this makeup look. Let me give you my thoughts on everything. The primer, or the Forever Glow Star Filter, I really like this. It has a bit more oomph in terms of glossiness and shine than Flawless Filter, but it's still a very refined pearly look. Like it doesn't look like a straight up highlighter, and I feel like the shade 2 was a really good match for me. I feel like 3 could also work, especially going into summer, but I'm definitely gonna keep using this over and under foundation. I'll report back on how it wears. But it didn't add any weight or heaviness, it just added pearly glow. And you can still see it like through the foundation, through the blush. It's a really nice primer in that way. And I did feel like it was blurring too. The Prada foundation, I'm a little undecided on. Maybe because I had such high hopes for it, and maybe because I just need to experiment with different bases. I really liked the thin quality to it, like how fluid it was, how spreadable, and that it gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of coverage. It's buildable, but you can sheer it out as well. The shade MN40, I feel like is a little peach for me. I don't know if I'm gonna exchange it. I haven't decided yet. I'm gonna see how it wears throughout the day and I'll let you know. I do wish I had applied it right after my skincare because it was more matte than I was expecting, but I also think my skin was a little bit drier today than it typically is. But I do feel like my skin looks really smooth. My skin does still look natural. It looks like skin. It doesn't look heavy. It doesn't look makeup-y. So I'll let you know throughout the day how it wears in the pinned comment. This blush, I really love it, and I actually love how it looks with the shade of lipstick that I picked. It's slightly autumnal today, I feel like. It ended up that way, but I really like how smooth this is. It went on really evenly. There was no patchiness, and even though I had the liquid luminizer underneath, I can tell there's It's not a pearl, like it's not like a shimmery pearl, but there's a refined creaminess to this powder that I think makes for a really elegant powder blush formula. The biggest surprise of today's makeup was the waterproof lash clash. My curl has not dropped at all while I've been sitting here. I don't have any smudging. I don't think I'm gonna have any smudging. It's more of a question of will the curl stay up throughout the day and will it be really difficult to remove? But I can't believe how just fluffy and voluminous my lashes look. They never look like this. I have very stubborn straight lashes, so this is a big one for me. The Haus Labs gloss is just an easy lip product to throw on and wear, to keep in your handbag, to throw on if you need a little more moisture. I am excited about this shade. I feel like it's flattering. It goes with everything. But I kind of want to try it in other shades too now. And I just like the grippiness of this kind of formula. You guys know I don't like slippy, oily, like thin glosses that just slide around your lips. This is rich and it's going to stay on the lips. It's going to make it long lasting for a gloss. And lastly, the Prada lipstick. I really like this and I kind of want this formula in other shades. I've actually been thinking about picking up the Merit lipstick in one of their pink shades, either Sunday or Maison. But now I'm kind of like, maybe I want this in like a bright baby pink. I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you know what I get or if I shop during the sale. And I do have Sephora sale recommendations coming. So keep an eye out for that. But I'll let you know how this wears throughout the day. I am going to be eating and drinking. I don't plan on retouching a whole lot, but yeah, I'll keep you posted. So that's it for me. A very rare Sephora haul, but I hope you guys enjoyed. If there's anything that you have your eye on, if you really want a review on something from me that I haven't maybe gotten to, let me know in the comments and I'll meet you there. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.